Welcome to the Business Growth Spotlight, where we talk with business leaders from all over the world who shine their light and share their expertise so we can all grow together. I'm your host, Heidi Schalk, and I am really excited to be bringing you my guest today because she is a powerful woman in the business space. So the conversation is going to be, I can only imagine, so incredible. So make sure that you're sticking around and staying for the whole thing. If you're new for this podcast, welcome. We're excited to have you. I am your host, Heidi Schalk, co-founder of HLH Growth Solutions, and we help businesses scale their revenue through outside-the-box visibility strategies. Make sure that you stick around to the end because we have a special gift for you. But without further ado, without delaying this any longer, I want to introduce you and welcome Christina with Scopio. Welcome, Christina, to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody.
So Christina is the founder of Scopio. So Christina, can you tell us a little bit about you, your company, and more about your role inside of it?
Yes, so I built this abundant and beautiful place where creatives all around the world sell their existing work in photography, video, illustration, and all that good stuff that's just sitting on your phone or your computers that you feel like, this might be valuable, but I'm not really sure where to put it. Those people come every day to Scopio via our app or our website, and they upload their images. They build these profiles that say all of their skill sets and what they're good at. And then we have unbelievable companies, everyone from like Disney to Adobe to Microsoft to Meta to Coachella to Penguin Random House that all come and look for interesting talent to work with on various projects. So while you're earning and making money on all the stuff that you feel like could be valuable, you might get an email about a project to work on. And so we're bringing the world closer together in 190 countries of people that are on Scopio and just making it easier for these like behemoths to find like that talent in Colombia or Nigeria they'd never find otherwise.
Wow, I love what you're doing and how you're allowing these creatives to really have a place to showcase what they do and their talent. So what inspired the creation of Scopio, Christina, and what personal experience led you to want to revolutionize access to the imagery?
So I always wanted to do something very big with my life. I didn't know what that was. I think for many in my generation, they thought they would go into politics and save the world or like, go and like help, kids that in different countries, maybe they didn't have access. So I started that path and then I ended up at Columbia University in New York for my master's and I was studying international politics. And I remember seeing all of these images come from social media on the news and it was like this huge event happened and these are all the pictures people are sharing from social media and I thought why are they just putting that on social media, like why can't that those rich images that make up our whole lives get distributed and people use them. And so it started off with me looking next door and seeing, wow, this girl is spending 2 hours editing that picture, picking the right picture to put on social media. That's a value. And then all of these events. And then I thought image sharing and the fact that we were moving into a visual language would be one of the biggest events of our lifetime. And I thought, if I can participate somehow in this change that's happening in society, maybe I can make the world a better place because we'll finally be able to see all these places in the world and interact with all these different people that before we'd never be able to. If you think about it, like let's say you had a friend's parent that went to Korea and they came back and you're like, what is Korea? Like, what is it like? And then you just had their anecdote. Now you can go search Korea and you can see everything in the country and understand everything about its food, its culture, its pop culture. And doesn't that make me more empathetic towards Koreans?
Yeah.
And so I thought like that was so cool for me as like that empathy building through visuals.
Yeah, so I'm curious, and I want to ask you a question about the 190 countries because that you're bringing together because you've mentioned that. But before we go there, what inspired the name Scopio?
It stands for Scope It Out, and we see ourselves as a fishing net for the world's content and people. I
Uh,
wanted something very like microscopic, something that pulled, and so that name came a long time ago, and it stuck.
I love it. So you're building a platform with talent from over 190 countries, and that's no small feat, right? That takes, I can imagine the work involved. What has been the most surprising or inspiring things that you've learned from global creators?
Ooh, I think this is not like the best thing. People might get mad at me for saying this, but I think that it's crazy how talented people are and how that doesn't necessarily mean that it's matched with their confidence level.
Mm,
Because I'll have like I'll work on a project like with one of the biggest names in the world. And then I'll have like somebody who I believe is so talented and I want them to be on the project. But they would sometimes they think they're not good enough to do that work.
mm,
And so not only so a lot of my work that I never thought I was like, oh, I'll just find the best person to work with the best company. And I was like, no, like there is a huge confidence building layer that our team has to do sometimes with these creatives and then I thought like, oh, is there something about being artistic, like actually talented and being insecure? And it's kind of a difficult thing because I'm like, I want you to be so empowered
right.
and so strong. And I wish there was a way that I could build that in the product and a way that we could install that. And we've tried with the brand, with the mission, the fact that we tell everyone that we care about them and they know when they're coming to Scopio that they're represented. And we're doing more and more of that. But like if you're listening to this, and it's not just in arts, like in so many different fields the confidence level doesn't mean the skill level and I want them to match like that would be my dream for all of these talented people like in any industry is to really have that confidence because that's what the client wants to see. They want to see you're going to come in here and you're going to do a good job and you're going to let them know that.
Yeah.
So it's something I never thought I would have to work with on a daily basis.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a challenge for creatives because they're like literally this is their baby, right? They really their passion, their heart and soul is in it. And sometimes we can get worried about rejection and things like that. So that confidence needs to shine through. Like we think it's good for us, but to put it out in the world is really, really scary. So when it comes
Yeah.
to what advice would you give creators and also businesses? So this is a business growth, platform and I want to share with businesses, I'm sure there's businesses who want to make their mark in visual storytelling. And storytelling is so important. And many times we can tell versus be sharing more, being more open and vulnerable. And I know some businesses are challenged with that. So what advice would you give to not only creators, but also businesses who want to make their mark in visual storytelling and build a sustainable career, sustainable business and thriving and growth?
A lot of businesses today rely on the narrative of the business owner or the narrative of the team behind it. A lot of it is trust to know I like Heidi. I know what she stands for. I know what she is meaning to do. So I think that's also a very hard part for leaders, especially for like it's hard for me to ask my team, be like, hey, can I interview you? Or, can you be more vocal? And the same way as me as a CEO that I come on here and share more. So if people are interested in the company, they can learn more and see if this is something they want to be a part of. So I think that's something that's neglected a lot today, or it's just hard to think about it because you're operating this entity which is over here, and then you're this separate person over here, but like people are kind of interested in you and the team. And so I think in today's society, especially with the growth of AI, the team should come forward. And then in terms of creativity, we have also a lot of times been relying on the same people to tell our stories. So if
Mhm.
you have one graphic designer, you've been working with them for years, people want to see that switch up. So I recommend working with different types of talent. And switching it up. Like if you're using photography as your main ad channel, like why not use an animation or an illustration? If you're pushing through email marketing, use an illustration to tell it instead of just like a banner image. And so that or use 3D or try these AI photos and have an expert do something for you. So that sometimes is really expensive for people, which is where Scopio brings that down and makes it easier, like to try something new. And people appreciate that. But so what did you say? Out of the box thinking.
Yeah.
That's what's required in terms of storytelling, and then letting the creative run with it. I am working now with a like an autistic like artist, and the art, I was like, do whatever you want, and it's something I would never imagine to be so amazing. And that's something people really want to know, like, wow, who created this and what's it about? And it makes them land for a few minutes longer.
Oh, I love that so much. So, Christina, you mentioned AI, so let's talk about that. What are your thoughts on the intersection of AI generated art and real human creativity, especially for businesses when they're sourcing their images? Or like, how are you all leveraging AI, and what are your thoughts behind it?
It's a hard question, but where I've landed on the answer here is that I saw the CEO of Disney speak, and he said no human has ever stood in the way of technological advancement. So this is how I see that, is that this is a technological advancement and that humans are jumping on board. And on one hand, I'm very excited for the possibility of being able to live till 200 years old with all the medical advances and being able to check and scan and get information from China to India to all of the latest information, and be able to see like what if can we improve our lives as humans. So that's just as on a personal note, but as in the own career, AI and gen images, it's very cool. It's very interesting, especially from a movie production perspective. We're able to do something like Avatar now that would take like millions of dollars and horsepower and everything into like breaking it down and generating that.
Mhm.
There is the issue with it is that there is only so much data that we have. So there's a few monopoly players, they have all the imagery, and that kind of is run out. So it's up to us to really change the systems of what's in it. Like if you think about it, they're still generating images of women eating salad and looking fake because that's the only imagery that we've had online for the past 50 years. So Scopio, that's where I see my role is, can we diversify it? Can we globalize it? Can we make it more like our actual lives that we're living? And that's going to constantly have to change for the machine so that it looks like the world that we live in instead of this distorted version based off of like things that aren't even real.
Yeah, and I want to talk about like you're an author too. So not only are you the founder of this incredible company, but you're also an author. So you're a busy woman. So let's talk about your book. And it's called, and I love the name, the title, If Women, What Would It Look Like If Women Ruled the World? So what inspired this project of yours, and what conversations are you hoping that it sparks?
Yes, I'm very excited about this upcoming book. It's my second book. The first one is called The Year Time Stopped, The Global Pandemic in Photos. It was gifted at the Grammys. It hit number one on Amazon in three categories. And that one is 200 images and stories from 2020 from around the world. And everyone is telling something really strange that happened that year, like people getting married with gloves on. And just you'll see like pictures you never would see again. That one you can find in every major retailer around the world, published with HarperCollins. And then I thought, I'm not going to work on a second book until I find something really meaningful. And I got like many people so upset about like different the wars happening around the world. And I thought, we live in 2025. People don't even have full access to water and food around the world, and we're having all these wars. And then I'm thinking, like, why can't we solve the world's problems? And so a lot of times, like women will be like, well, women would never do that. I mean, women would never cause war. And I was like, would they or would they not? And so I met with the president of HarperCollins, and I told her, like, what do you think women would do if they ruled the world? Like, is it true when we sit around? And no one that I had asked ever thought beyond that. It's like an anecdote to say women would never do that, but nobody ever says what would they do if they could. And I thought that was really weird. So I wanted to open that up, and I wanted to ask every gender, ethnicity, age. I wanted to know, like, between young boys to old 90-year-old women, like, what would they think of this question? And in the same format as the other one, it's 88, which represents infinity, images and and art that depict a different idea from different people around the world. And so I'll give you some examples. One is like women would end the death penalty. We got that from Iran. One was women would cure cancer, and it's an image of a woman taking her wig off before she's about to die. The death penalty one is a little lighter. And then we have really funny ones like a woman would end aging, and it's this image, and the artist has been on the Times Square, and it's a Photoshop, like all these different parts of our bodies Photoshopped. We have a young boy that thought women would replace all shampoo bottles, or sorry, take all the missiles in the world and make them shampoo bottles because all women care about is their hair. And this was said by a young boy whose parents were from Iraq and he's refugees. And it's just like happy, sad, all the feelings. The art is unbelievable. And I think it's really going to open people's imaginations, which is the whole point of this. And I like to be funny and add some levity to topics like this, just to like get people working, you know?
Yeah, I love your thirst for curiosity. I think that's really inspiring and a big takeaway from me and hopefully for our audience too. So no matter what you're doing in your business, that's one thing you want to keep is your thirst for curiosity, because that's where a lot of the creativity and the new ideas are going to come in order to fuel your growth and also fuel those innovative ideas and unexpected things that you could be creating and transformations you can be creating in the world. So that's one thing that I'm learning from you, and I absolutely love it. It's like shining through so bright, and I could feel it on the other side. And the reason you created this book is because you had that curiosity. You're like, but you didn't just sit on it. You took action on it. You got excited about it, and you've had some interesting, funny, deep conversations with different people, as well as created some incredible images. So I'm excited for it's coming out. Is that what you say? It's not out yet, right?
No, you can sign up for a pre-order on ifwomen.scopio, scop.io, or just go to our website and there'll be a link there, and it will be out in spring of next year.
Okay, amazing. Well, we're going to keep on tabs on you. We're going
Yes.
to help you promote this. So when it does get we are going to have all of Christina's links in the show notes, and I'm going to ask her down toward the end, like how you all can connect with her, because you definitely want to connect with this woman. So we're going to get you that info. But in the end of the day, too, we're just going to keep tabs on you. So when you do get closer, you definitely share so we can keep promoting this as it gets closer to the launch as well. But definitely pre-order. So Christina, what have been some challenges that you've navigated along the way of your growth of your business, and how did you overcome them?
Oh my gosh, building a tech company is a wild experience. I really wanted to build like a tech company. I think it's so much easier to build a company that isn't that risky. And I knew like I'm going to collect all these people, all this content. And now we have so much AI capabilities to enrich that content, match the people. So I think doing something risky that involves so many people, now I serve more than 100,000 people on the site, that I think you're not sure when something is going to surge, or like what resources you need, and the talent that you need, and then you need investors, and you have to manage the investor relationships, and then you need, there's so much. And then but I think now is the best time to start a business, to start a tech company. When I started working on AI and building a company, it was 10 years ago, and people like were not really into women in tech. It was there was a lot of stories and things that happened to me, and I grew up, I think, in privilege, and I went to the best schools, and I felt that I had everything I needed to start this company. I went to Silicon Valley, and everyone was so interested. And I didn't realize that my experience would be different than the counterparts that sat next to me every day. But I became friends with them, and I found different ways in which to get allies and support and make it through. And I think today there's so much more awareness. It's not easy. Only 2% of women receive venture funding. Only 7% of check writers are women. The women funds that a lot of entrepreneurs get sent to are very small, so they have huge responsibilities to pick the right businesses to invest in, which makes it even harder for the entrepreneur to get through them. And it's just very difficult. So the way you can do it and that creativity and that curiosity is what you're saying is this is interesting. Like I love being a first mover. Like this is going to be a challenge and I'm going to figure it out instead of being like the odds are stacked against me. I'm never going to be able to make it. Like this is so unfair. Like how could somebody talk to me like that? So you have to become your own best friend mentally,
Mhm.
and you have to kind of see it as a game that you're going to get through. It's kind of a weird switch you have to do early on, I feel like. Um, but I do think now is like more encouraging. I'm happy in the way it's going, but I still think like Andreessen and Sequoia should do a 10% pledge or 15% pledge and just move the number from 2 to 10 by like next year. They could do it tomorrow if they wanted to.
Yeah, the stats that you shared are pretty eye-opening because I wasn't even aware that those numbers are so low for women and business owners and things like that. So if you're a woman listening and you're wanting to start or you're growing, definitely, definitely connect with Christina because she's doing it, right? And you're definitely an inspiration. So what are some
Thank you.
major growth milestones that have really moved the needle for Scopio?
So I thought globally from day one.
Hmm.
So when I created my platform, I knew that I needed global talent. If I had just had a marketplace of like American creatives, I didn't feel that the business would offer that much value. Because I wanted to show all these different skill sets and all these different content and different stories. So I think if you today in today's world, you should think globally in terms of your product or your user base or your clients, if it's applicable to you. It helps because the world is a bigger market than just one country.
Hmm.
But specializing is also very good. Like I started in photography, then I moved to illustration, then I moved to video and graphic design. So I did expand step by step. Um, and that's also a good way to do it. Um, Let me think. Working with really good team, uh, getting the right advisors. Your network is your net worth. Who you know and who you can call favors for is so important. Sometimes your back is against the wall and you just need one more phone call to solve a problem. That's very important. And then also making good relationships with your vendors. For example, I built my company because Amazon Web Services gave me $150,000 and I was experimenting with AI and making a lot of mistakes. And if they didn't give me that money, I would have never been able to build my company. So instead of me going and getting $150,000 originally, I got like a free thing from Amazon. And so if you know that there's these kinds of services and relationships, you got to negotiate and figure out how you get the most out of it. If you can't get the cash to do something like that in the beginning.
So
Um,
that's a question from
yeah.
have like so for somebody listening going, how did you get that? Like, how do you start building those relationships or find those opportunities?
You have to work on your negotiation skills, number one. You need to negotiate yourself out of a closet. Like you need to be able to talk to somebody, read books like How to Win Friends and Influence People. There's negotiators. I think she's like a professor from Columbia called Alex Carter. You have to learn how to meet the right person and ask them for something, convince them that what you're doing is so interesting that they want to be a part of that.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, and just keep asking. Communities are very important. So whatever you're in, I think today we're very in an individualistic society, but success isn't made like that. You need there are so many people that have helped me become successful, some by a phone call, some every single day. And I think we should be thinking more about these community, driven approaches to success. So think about who's around you and how they can help versus some people are like, I need one advisor. They're going to change my life. Like it's not true. Like 1,000 people are going to change your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I love that you shared again because we hear it, but it's always a good reminder. Your network is your net worth. Love that you shared about negotiation. You definitely want to like negotiate yourself out of closet. Love that. And you need to be reading. You need to be reading and keeping and reminding yourself, even if you read it, like what you said, shared, those books are important and they're going to sharpen your skills and putting yourself in rooms with people and building those relationships is key. So what's next for Scopio? What are your big goals for, or what's a big goal for you for 2025, Christina?
So I'm working with great companies that we're bringing talent on. I measure now my success by how much money I put in the hands of creatives around the world and how many countries we can do that in. So I'm looking to grow that by 10 times. All of our growth has been organic. We have 35,000 creatives on Scopio's app and site. And that's due to the fact that we're bringing them business. We don't charge our artists, like they come for free. And we're like, here's a project, $2,000. Here's one, $10,000. Here's $200 for your photos, So working on the payment system, working on bringing in more business for people. And then, of course, the anticipation of the new book.
Yeah. So how are you getting in front of these creatives? What's your visibility strategy? What's worked for you? What have you tried that hasn't worked for you? What is that would look like for Scopio?
Oh, I have so many learnings there. I think it's grown organically. So we've used a lot of email. Email has helped us a lot. The I never really could get into the ad side of things. I kind of think it's fun because I feel like, oh, if I put, $500,000, how many maybe I could get all of the 35,000 in one day. So if there's an expert on that, they have an idea, please shoot me a note. But we've largely used word of mouth and testimonials and emails to drive artists and creative growth. But really, it's that, there's a lot of free photo websites. There's a lot of places people get listed for who they are. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. Like, let me figure out how to pay these people. And like at the end of the day, it's a no frills. I grew up in the Midwest. I'm very no frills. So I'm like, if I pay people, they'll come back, they'll tell their friends. And that's how it's mainly been.
Fantastic. So if I could give you a magic wand and you can go poof on one issue that you're having or Scopio's dealing with right now, that you could just wipe away. What is that, and what would that be, and why?
Oh, wow. You know what? It would be AI. Because I started off building an AI product. I built a way that we could find images based off of hashtags and message people and say like, hey, we love your photo, you should sell it. That was the first thing I had built. And I used AI to decide if it was a meme or an actual picture that Heidi took, for example. And if I had patented that, I would like own the patent for that now. But like people had stopped me at that point. And you have to be very strong when you know something is important. That's a lesson there. So I think now we match, let's say I have matched a few hundred people to opportunities, but I have 35,000 people, and then I have almost like also the same number of businesses. We have like everything from everyone from Buckingham Palace to Google to IBM that are on searching for people and images. And I'm like, what if I could just make it easy for them? A magic wand with AI could be like, Heidi really needs this graphic designer, and these are all the quirks that she needs. And then that person magically appears, and then the payment magically happens, and then they sail off in the sunset together. And I think that would be amazing. And it's possible with technology, and it could happen like if we waved the magic wand.
Yeah.
Before, I used to literally have to hire teams to just tag pictures. And I didn't have the money for it at the time when I started. And I had like six people just like titling Heidi's image. And today the magic wand does that. So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
It's like I when you're saying that, I'm thinking of Disney and fairy tales, bringing fairy tales to life. I love it so much. So Christina, for our audience who's like chomping at the bit to learn more about you, how can they find you and connect with you?
So you can visit our website at scop.io. Think of Scope It Out, and you can contact us through the page there if you have a project you want to start or an idea. We'd happy to talk to you about, how much it would cost and different options of people that are ready to work and go. And then if you want to follow me personally, I'm most active on LinkedIn. You can look up Christina, last name Hawatmeh, Hawatmeh. I'm sure it will be here in the notes. And you can follow the business at Scopio Images on Instagram or me personally. And send me a note if this inspired you. I'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. So make sure you connect with Christina. She's awesome, as you can tell. And learn more about Scopio. You can go to scop.io. We're going to have all of her contact information as well as her bio inside of the show notes. So you definitely want to go check that out there. If you are watching us on YouTube, let her know, send her a note, drop a note below and let her know that you're saw her here, ask a question. Also subscribe, because this is how we get more information and share our amazing experts like Christina with more people out in the world. If you know of a creative who is a friend, family member, somebody special to you, and you think this would be a great place, an avenue for them to earn some extra funding or money and create something new in their world, send them to Scopio. Scop.io, connect them with Christina. Let's get this ball rolling and grow it. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform like Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, or any of the other ones, please, and you can leave a review, please leave 5 stars. Let Christina know you loved her. Let me know you love us and that you want us to bring you more people. And this is also how your reviews help us share Christina and our other amazing guests to the world to help other business leaders grow. That's my goal. I want everybody who is building a business to be successful and thrive. And that's why we're doing this. So your support means a lot. Christina, is there anything before we wrap up that you want to share that I didn't ask you or we didn't touch on?
No, just wishing everybody to just go harder and take some risks, and they'll see some amazing things happen.
Amazing. And one thing I did promise you all that were listening at the beginning that I forgot to share with you is our free gift. So if you are doing the things, you're trying to get more visible, you've heard what Christina's been doing, and you feel like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall and all your visibility strategies just aren't getting you the traction you want to get, then go ahead and grab our Spotlight to Scale blueprint. You can go to spotlighttoscale.com/blueprint to grab it. It's free, it's yours, and get some out of the box ideas to grow. Again, reach out to Christina. We're going to have all of our contact. Go to Scopio now. Like if you're not driving, as long as you're not driving, go check out Scopio. Go to scop.io. We'll see you over there. I'm going to show my daughter, Christina, because she loves
Yeah.
taking photos and she's really good at it, whether it's on her phone or her camera. But she's like really, she's kind of like a snob when it comes to photos on her camera, on her phone. She's like, no, I have to have my camera. And I'm like, you take pretty good photos on your iPhone. So I think she'd be perfect to check out Scopio and see. So I'm going to definitely be sharing it with her. So thank you for this. It's been amazing.
Yeah, have her download the app on iOS or Android, and she can build her profile and have her images. As I mentioned, sometimes we work with young teenagers, people that are like, I don't know how old she is, but she can start to showcase some of those. And actually, the camera photos are way better. So good for her. Let her keep doing that so we can stretch those, edit them. They're
Yeah.
way more valuable than mobile photography. So even though, because we only see it this big, but
Mhm.
we as an industry want to see it this big so we can play with it. So
I'll let her know
she knows
that.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll let her know that because she's been using more of her camera. She has like a nice camera and she feels like she gets better photos on there. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
camera, your phone also takes great photos. So I'll let her know that. She's 16, so I'll be sending her
Oh,
for sure. So thank you for this. It's been amazing. It's great learning more about you and Scopio. And thank you all for listening to Christina and I today. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Business Growth Spotlight. See you soon.